Warning, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Hello everybody and welcome to the Derek Ruby Show. I am your host, the previously mentioned Mr. Ruby, and this is Halloween month here on the Derek Ruby Show. And the best way to celebrate that is with a review of Hatchet. So the movie starts off in the middle of a swamp with Ainsley and Samson, played by Robert Englund. Samson's after a gator and Ainsley goes to take a piss.
Here you go.
Kids, you gotta watch where you poke those things. So Ainsley talks his dad into pulling over so he can finish peeing, even though I don't know why you would want to after that experience. And of course it starts to rain. Ainsley comes back to the boat for a big surprise. Then we get our opening credit scene with Marilyn Manson music, and we see that everybody's partying at Mardi Gras. Then we meet our two main characters, Ben and Marcus. Marcus, of course, wants to enjoy Mardi Gras, but Ben's trying to get over his girlfriend, and then we get a nice little joke.
Hey! For something new, right? Haven't you seen enough boobs?
So Ben wants to go on a horror tour, and because Marcus is a good friend, he doesn't want to leave him, so he goes with him. So they head to the place to take the tour, and they meet Reverend Zombie, but he doesn't want to do tours anymore because of, quote, what happened last year. So the guys want to know what happened, and he tells them.
He wanted to get off the boat in a hurry, and he had his foot dangling over the edge.
He fell in? A gator got him? What happened?
He slipped, hit his head right on the roof, and sued me for negligence.
I actually wasn't expecting that. It's kind of funny. But he sends them a couple blocks down the road to a place where they can take a tour. They go into the voodoo shop and we see a porn director. Since I can't show you most of his stuff, we won't talk about him too much. So they meet their tour guide Sean and they pay $40 a person to go on the tour. So they get on the tour bus. Ben sits down next to a girl named Mary Beth and he has the most horrible pickup lines ever.
Mary Beth, that's a great name. Because it's actually two names, you know. That's a nice coat.
I didn't come on this tour because I was hoping that just maybe I'd get to meet you.
We get some introductions to characters that we'll soon forget later. Then the bus stops at its destination. Everyone gets out of the bus and Sean's in a hurry for everybody to get on the boat. Another man on a small boat keeps yelling at them to stop. He's basically this movie's version of Crazy Ralph. Of course they ignore the man and they take off on their tour. While riding on the tour, Sean tells them the legend of Victor Crowley.
That right there is a home of a real famous Louisiana legend, Victor Crowley, Hatchet is. The legend is that he was a deformed man whose own father went nuts and whacked him in the face with a hatchet one night. Probably on account of he was so ugly or something. Anyway, he died.
Mary Beth calls him out in his bullshit and says that that's not the real story. Sean turns off the lights on the boat so everybody could see the ghosts. Of course, there aren't really any ghosts, but when Sean turns the lights back on, we get a glimpse of what looks like might be our antagonist to the story.
Fine.
Jim, did you see that?
Unfortunately, the tour guide gets the boat stuck, and it rains. They try to get the boat unstuck, but it starts to sink. Old man Jim gets off the boat to show everybody that they can get to shore. It unfortunately doesn't work out for him, though. Amongst all that chaos, some of the others fall in, and the porno director almost gets his, but he's able to make it. After this, we find out our tour guide is a fraud, and everybody's freaked out that Mary Beth has a gun. But she explains the real legend of Victor Crowley. And because this is a low-budget movie, I can excuse the way some of this looks.
So he ran and got himself a hatchet, and he started chopping at that door. But Victor was pressed up against the other side trying to get out. And it was an accident, but he hit him in the face with that hatchet. And poor Victor Crowley died. The old man became a recluse after that. He never left his house. Just sat there for almost 10 years before he finally died of a broken heart.
Mary Beth explains her father and brother went missing and that's why she brought the gun with her. Also, she points out the Crowley house is right there. Not everybody believes the legend that Mary Beth told, and the elderly couple makes their way to the house because they're looking for help. Gee, I can't imagine this ending badly. But of course it does. Mary Beth shoots Victor and everybody runs. And Marcus ends up in the tree. We see that the porno director has been separated from everybody. Then Marcus falls out of the tree.
Ah! Oh, God damn it, a branch hit me in the nuts. Oh, what? This is bullshit.
The porno director tries he might to hide, it just doesn't quite work out for him. Marcus and Sean get into a little bit of a fist fight. It doesn't last too long. Then they find Mr. Shapiro's bag and it turns out he's not really a porno director. Then they trip over his body and they find the blind girl's cell phone and of course it doesn't work. What a surprise. So Ben and Mary Beth head to the barn to find some weapons and we see that Mary Beth's brother and father are both dead. While the others wait for them, they get a fake out with a raccoon. Just when they get a sigh of relief, Crowley pops up and he saws Misty's face off. Ben and Mary Beth try to save her, and for some stupid reason, Sean goes back for the shovel. This doesn't work out too good for him as Victor chops off his foot, and it's all downhill from there. I'm not gonna lie, as over the top as that was, that double kill was awesome. Misty and Mary Beth get into an argument and Mary Beth smacks her.
Come on, shut up, you redneck twat!
Victor surprise attacks them, but they get the better of him. I actually think that's somewhat realistic. So they come up with a plan to fight against Crowley. While Ben tries to go get the gas cans, Marcus stands around talking shit.
What? You afraid I'm gonna whip your ass again, you little bitch?
Misty disappears and gets killed off camera. She gets tossed at Ben, but then they enact their plan.
Yes, burn, bitch!
The plan didn't go very far as it starts raining, and the trio make a break for it. They end up in the cemetery, but Crowley chases them down. They get stuck at the gate and he grabs Marcus's foot. Mary Beth's able to get Marcus's leg free. Unfortunately, it doesn't last very long. Crowley spears Ben in the foot and then we get our epic showdown. So our two survivors find a boat and the day appears to be saved. Then Mary Beth gets pulled into the water. As she's drowning, she reaches up for Ben's hand, and then she's surprised. That's right, everybody, that's how our movie ends. So that was Hatchet. What do I think about it? It's an over-the-top fun slasher movie. It's trying to be an 80s slasher movie with a modern tone, and it actually does that very well. Sometimes it's too over-the-top. The dialogue in the movie is not necessarily the best. You can tell it's very low budget. The CG is actually laughable at times. The kills are creative, but they are a little out there. Movies with endings like this are a hit or miss for me, and I know a lot of slasher movies did this back in the day, but this one just doesn't work for me that well. Plus the main showdown beforehand was kind of a disappointment. The thing of it is, though, it's a B-roll movie, and it knows it's a B-roll movie. What I find refreshing is our whole cast of characters, especially the two main ones. We also have a strong female character, but she's not the primary focus. To top it off, when you look at the setting being in New Orleans, the reason for having such a diverse cast makes sense, and they don't just do it for the sake of doing it. Bottom line, it's a fun flick and it does what it sets out to do. So I'm going to give Hatchet 3.5 stars. So thank you guys for listening to the Derek Ruby Show, and I hope you are enjoying our Halloween month. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram. And as always, have a good one. And I'll see you guys next time.
Here you go.
Kids, you gotta watch where you poke those things.